Hello, beautiful vegans. Thanks for joining us today. If you want to know about veganism and Brazil, the Amazon rainforest, you're in the right place. So, this is Empowered Vegans, the show that inspires and empowers vegans to live their best lives. And I'm Mariquita Solis, vegan empowerment coach. And every week I bring leading expert vegans and plant-based people sharing inspirational stories, practical tips, and empowering conversations. My mission is to support the vegan community in living a fulfilling, joyful life while making a positive impact on the world. As a transformational coach, I also offer coaching programs, one-on-one group coaching that help vegans navigate the challenges and create a life that aligns with their beliefs so that they can empower themselves and empower the world. So today I'm excited to bring to you Marcelo Daidon. Oh, I think I'm saying it wrong. It's Italian, and I'm not Italian. Well, I'll let him tell you the middle name, Chalita. Marcelo is a criminal lawyer and criminology expert with a focus on animal rights and animal criminology. He researches animal rights protection and animal law. So I'm excited to bring him to you to learn about this rainforest that we need to protect so much and to find out more how we can stand up for animals. And everybody that's watching, please give StreamYard permission to use your name to at the top of the post, at the bottom of the post, there'll be a little spot that says, give StreamYard permission. We want to know who's watching, where you're watching from, and your questions and comments, because this is a tremendously important conversation that we're going to have today. We need to find out these facts and how we can help the world, because the rainforest is just, that's it. We've got to take care of our rainforest so that the world can thrive. So welcome, Marcelo. Where are you joining us from?
Hey, Mariquita, thanks for having me. My name is Marcelo. I'm from Brazil. I'm speaking from São Paulo, Brazil, my home city. It's a pleasure to be here and to spread the veganism, especially in Brazil, that is growing, the movement, and I'm super happy to be here and talk a little bit more about veganism in Brazil. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. I'd first love to ask you, when I see JJ and Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Everybody else, let us know who's here. Tell me what started this. Were your family, did you come from a vegan family?
No, I hope, I wish, but no, unfortunately, here in Brazil, or, most of families, they are not vegans. Eating meat is something super cultural in Brazil, and unfortunately not. I've been eating meat for all my life, for the last 20 years. So I went vegetarian when I was 20, and well, I'm vegan just for the last 2 years. But here in Brazil, everyone eats meat, unfortunately.
And why did you become vegan?
So my vegan story is a little bit. So the thing is, I was living in the UK for the last 3 years, and living in London, it was a life change for me. So um, I'm sure that I wouldn't become vegan if I hadn't had lived there, because there are so many expos and conferences, so many restaurants to go, and I've been in the movement, going to meetings and knowing more about veganism. So I went vegan 2 years ago, um, during the lockdown, when we are locked and there's not much to do. And I was reading, doing my own studies, watching movies, talking with people, um, subscribing to vegan networks, to business, and then I was tricking myself a little bit, because I remember that I used to be vegan for 1 week, and then On Sunday, I used to eat a cookie, made from eggs and milk. And then I said, oh no, I'm not prepared to be vegan. And then I had to start over again. And then after 2 weeks trying to be vegan, I ended up eating a cake. And then I said, oh my God, something wrong with me. And one day I was walking around London, and I trip it over I don't know, something, a rock, something. And then I realized that I was using a leather boot from leather. And then I said, oh, that's the thing. I'm trying to be vegan from my diet, but I'm not vegan in my lifestyle. Do you know what I'm saying? And then after this day, I just said, okay, now I need to change all my wardrobe. I need to throw everything out, or donate. And then when I arrived home, I literally I threw everything from leather, from fur, from everything. I separate and I gave away. And then I said, okay, from this day, from that milestone, I'm prepared to be vegan in my lifestyle. So it was literally from a little walking around that I trip it, and then yeah, I became vegan.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful. And I love the way that you're learning, you're educating yourself to step up for animals. And then
Yeah.
we've got some wonderful comments. And I think this is Claudia. Hello, beautiful vegans. I'm so happy and proud to be part of this important live stream. You can put my name when comment. We have to have the courage to be real. Yes, that's exactly right. And then we have, let's see, Adele. Thank you both for being vegan and minimizing suffering of the innocent animals. Yes, and so I want to talk about this. Thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for everything you all are doing. So, what about the people in Brazil and the rainforest? Do they not see the impact that meat eating causes? The people that are living right there, do they understand?
So, Mariquita and everyone who is watching, what I feel here as a Brazilian and coming from the greatest biodiversity in the world, I feel that so many people, they worried about the Amazon rainforest. They are activists, or they do little single things such as recycling, or uh, reusing things such as plastic and bottles or whatever. Uh, Actually, here in my house, we have three different bins because we recycle things, and this is a big thing here in Brazil, recycling mentality. But people, they think that this is enough, and actually, it's not enough, because here in Amazonia, in Brazil, in the north of Brazil, um, there are so many people that uh, try to protect Amazonia or being activists, but they are eating meat, or in their meals they are actually uh, uh, doing things to increase the deforestation in Amazonia, because they don't see the relation between eating meat and all the deforestation. They these are two arguments that they cannot be together, they cannot be linked, because uh, if you are eating meat, you are directly impacting on the Amazon deforestation. So this is because Brazil is one of the biggest meat exporter in the world, and most of this production comes from Amazonia. In which way, people always ask me, and I always try to talk with my family and my friends, that, well, in Brazil, around 85% of the deforestation in Amazonia comes from grains such as soil, such as corn, and all these grains are produced to make food to feed animals, land animals that people eat. So, for instance, and this I'm going to talk deeper in my presentation on the 8th, if you guys want to join.
That's on
um,
We Did It YouTube. We're going to be
we
there.
did it, yeah. So, Brazil, um, so China is the first soya imported in. So Brazil exports soya to China, and China, what China is doing with the soya or the soy, they are producing, or they are creating food to feed pigs. And around 85% of the deforestation in Amazonia regards to soya production. And so I always say to my friends, hold on, you cannot protect or try to protect Amazonia or try to be activists in Amazonia if you are eating meat. Um, it's the same thing here in all January. Here in Brazil, it's summer in December, January, and February, and it rains a lot. Every single year, it rains a lot. It rains a lot, and so many people die. The houses are completely soaked, and 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 people don't see the relation between eating meat and this.
What about your friends? Don't your friends listen to you or your
Well, I
family?
try. Yes, some of them, they say thank you. I didn't know about this, because for me it's, you can see the relation. It's easy for me to see. I remember, by the way, in the 2019, I was in my apartment here in São Paulo, and it was Tuesday afternoon, completely sunny day in São Paulo, and then suddenly the the sky became like gray or dark from because from the fog, you know, and this fog was coming from Amazonia, because there was so many, how they say, they were putting fire in the Amazonia, putting fire to get more land in the soil, or to have more produced land, and it was, so if you see Brazilian map, Amazonia, it's in north, and Sao Paulo is like southeast, so all this fog came from the north of Brazil, and it was sunny day, and at 3 p.m. everything started to be black. And then that time I was vegetarian, and I was criticizing everyone who were putting fire in the rainforest, in the forest. And then after 3 years, I realized that I was actually contributing to that, because they were um, logging or putting everything down in order to plant grains to feed animals. So I was actually contributing, because on that day I was eating meat, Um, so no, actually I was vegetarian that time, but I was criticizing, and also didn't know the relation between milk industry and everything. But people in Brazil here, they are so Amazonia activists, but they didn't, or they don't realize that they are contributing to everything.
What about
And
your family?
well, I try as well to tell everyone. My brother, he's 30 something, and he kind of understands me more. But my grandparents, my mom, my parents, they think that I'm crazy, and.
Well, welcome to the club. I mean, like my family, I know. I mean, I
Yeah.
think all of us, almost every guest that I talk to says the same thing that you're saying, right? We wish our families would listen, but
Yes. And sometimes, so for instance, when it rains a lot, I always say to them, hold on, if you are eating meat, you are contributing. It's the same thing, because um the the temperature in the, so if you have climate change, or if you have if our world um, become more um, oh, how do I say, it gets hot, not hotter, but it increased the temperature. um, there will be more, so all the ice is going to
Oh,
melt, and then if melt the ice, the 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 ocean is going to increase so, and this ended up getting more rain. And I always say to them, look, you are contributing to this. You cannot say, oh, the government's doing this. Oh, poor people that they lost their houses or they died. Poor people, I'm going to donate clothes to them. I'm going to donate things to Amazonia. Poor people. But open your eyes, you are directly affecting this. And this is my my fight. I want to make people, not just Brazilians, but everyone who fights to protect Amazonia. And we say that the Amazon is the lungs of the world. Everyone knows about Amazonia. uh, but the thing is, hold on, if you're eating meat, you cannot do, or either you eat meat and don't say anything about Amazonia, you or you are vegan, full stop. There is
right.
no other option. There is no other option at all, honestly. And yeah, uh, I've been activist in this field. But even though the veganism is increasing in Brazil, we have now around 7 million uh, vegan Brazilians who are vegans, and 30 million vegetarians. And if you consider around 280 million Brazilians, 7 million is not that much, but it's something, something. But still, there are so many, churrascarias is the place that you go to eat meat, and just meat, and like eat whatever you can in meat. When the waiters, they come with meat and serving to you. uh, and for me, when I go to a bar in the corner, there is no option at all, because all the sandwiches, everything is um, meat, with meat. All the meals are with meat. There is no much options. But here in São Paulo, which is the biggest city in the country and the biggest city in the southern hemisphere, there are so many vegan options. There's so many vegan options, but still we are walking slowly, even though it's increasing.
Right. Well, we got some good comments here. The Amazon is a wonder, a treasure. People are unconscious of this. They don't deserve the miracle, which is a gift from God, the lungs of the planet. This is
Yeah.
incredible, but true. Yes.
And and one thing, Marquita, that I want to point out is that, uh, and for me, it's unbelievable to think, because I see as well so many environmentalists, people who are working in protecting Amazonia, people who are directly there, working there, or making researches about Amazonia, and when you're gonna to ask them, okay, are you vegan? No, they are not. And then I say, hold on, how come? What are you doing? And I just want to shake them up and say, hold on, what are you doing? You cannot research about Amazonia. You cannot provide figures about Amazonia if you're not vegan. I mean, of course you can, but it doesn't make sense at all. At
What do
all.
they say when you try to talk to the environmentalists? What do they say? Do they listen?
Well, some of them, they are vegetarians, and they say, "Oh, I know, but I cannot quit cheese."
That's
These things.
cheese. Yeah.
I remember that I had a professor, um, that I went to a course about human rights, animal rights, and philosophic reflections. And and out of 30 students, there were just me and another lady, vegans. And the professor, he was teaching animal rights, and he was vegetarian. And he was vegetarian. And I went to talk with him, and I said, "How? Why? What? How come? What are you doing?" And this is this, and he was using a fake leather shoes. He was not using any clothes from, but this the thing, but the cheese and the cheese, cheese for me. And and I just say, do you know about the milk industry? Do you know what do you know what do you know where your cheese comes from? You know how is the process? No, they don't. And and this, it's not, it's sad to know this, that he was a teacher in the São Paulo University. Is the best university in the country.
Did
And
you tell him? And you did, what happened? I want you to tell me that he went vegan.
they say that they know, we know. He says,
Oh,
I know, but he keeps doing. Is the same on people who researches Amazonia, or there are so many um, uh, final papers or studies in masters saying about Amazon, and when I'm going to check, no, they're not vegans. And or people researching the sea, or doing research on fish, and they are eating seafood. I don't know if you can see this phenomenon in the US as well. Can you see this as well? Or
yeah. Well, yes, I see it because, well, I volunteer at a nature center, and so when we went to the dinner, the volunteer dinner, I mean, I don't know if there was any other vegan. There was vegetarian. I mean, minimal vegetarian, but I mean, how are we protecting animals? But then now we're sitting down to eat them. Doesn't make any sense.
yes, no, that's I was related to climate change, is that people who so there are so many people here in Brazil. Is a cultural thing as well to have pets, dogs and cats in their houses. And I was reading that this industry, the pet industry, they pollute a lot on making not just the food for pets, but also the when they play with, balls, or when they play with bones, when you throw. So this industry is polluting a lot. And here in Brazil, um, well, I don't know. Here in my building, I think 80% of the apartments, they have some pet. And even when it's a small apartment, they have pet, and they are contributing to the global warming. And for me, this was mind blowing to know this. They have a turnover of 37 million. I don't know. It was $1 billion per year. Yeah, it's something crazy, something crazy. Because my studies is on um, cows, pigs, chickens. But I came across this news with about pets, and I honestly, I didn't know. And I'm just saying here because we as a vegans, we don't know this, as I didn't know this. I thought having a dog, or I don't have any, but I thought, um, okay, there is not wrong, but actually, uh, there are so many things wrong, not just because they're contributing to global warming, but also because we treat these animals as a product, right? So the only difference between um, the the chickens or cows and your dog is that both they are products, both we buy, but the difference is that one, people buys that to eat, and other people buy to have a company, but they are products the same. And from my animal law and animal rights studies, uh, if you are alive, right? If you are alive, if you feel pain, you have that uh, indisposable right, or indisposable right. I don't know. Correct me if it's wrong. It's something that you cannot sell or you cannot give. So it's your life. It's your right to. It's your right to be alive. It's your right to eat. It's your right to um, to eat, to breathe. It is your right that you cannot sell. And also, you have a right to not be a product, right?
That
If you
sounds
are
great. Yeah.
if you are sentient being, if you are sentient being, um, you have a right to not be a product. If you feel pain, only because you feel pain. Well, it's not only because, but because you feel pain, right? Um, you have the right to not be a product. So, yeah, having dog or cat at your home is something that you are contributing to this mentality, because even though your dog sleeps good, sleeps, in your bed, or have the best food, you bought it, or it is a product. He is there just because um, you want, it's from it's about you. It's not about the dog. You get my point. Um,
Well,
but
I'm
anyway, yeah.
definitely against buying dogs. Yes. So, I mean, there's so many dogs that need homes. It's very, very sad. I mean,
No, yeah, it is. This is a
these pet
point. There are so
stores,
many dogs
yeah,
that they need home.
the
Um,
pet stores, that are selling dogs. It's sickening.
yeah,
You know.
and they are changing that. They are changing the gens, and they are doing anything to what to to fit person perspective. Oh, I want my dog to be not big, small, and have a beautiful face. So they change genetically.
Oh well, that's
So
very sad.
this is
I
a
mean,
product, right?
well, it's sad when I see dogs that don't go out and live like
Yeah,
dogs. Like if dogs have like a whole bunch of dresses and things like that. They have more dresses, but they don't ever go on walks, or they have a whole new.
exactly.
I mean, that's very, very sad to me, and I've seen that before. I mean, it's not
And
even.
this, yeah, and this is another discussion that I've been studying as well. There are things that is uh, legally allow it, and things that is morally allowed it. So let me give an example. So um, is 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 that moral to go to work and leave your dog 15 hours alone at your home? This is not moral, but is legally okay, right? So this discussion between moral and right, and to be legal, uh, we can have the same thought on the livestock. What is legal or what is moral? It is moral to kill. For instance, let me give you an example. GBS, which is the biggest meat producer in the world. He's Brazilian. Is Brazilian based. If I'm not wrong, there are some GBS in the US, but they are Brazilian. It's here in Brazil. They are the main factories in the center of Brazil, and they kill daily 250 million land animals daily. 250 million, just GBS, just one company. Yeah,
Oh my
250
God.
million daily. And they have around Brazil, if I'm not wrong, I don't know exactly the number, but they have um, so many factories around the country, and some in the US. So if you take all of them, 250 million per day. So animals are being killed now. They are killing now, right? Is that moral? From my point of view, it's not moral, but it's legally permitted, right? Because they are making money. They are getting profit, and most of the, or not most, but some of politicians, they they are in the Congress, allowing them to do this, or or the company pays to the politicians to not vote against them. So we know how it works. But yeah, so so this discussion morally against what is legal or not, and this we we can talk about animal rights. So for me and for my studies, what I always say is that the right, or the animal right, starts when he's capable of feeling pain. For me, the pain is the main point. So if you feel pain, you have to have right. This is my point. You have to have right. And if you have to have right just because you feel pain, well, if you see these slaughterhouses, so all animals, they should have right because they feel pain, but it's not what's happening. And and yeah, so and my main point is that, returning to Amazon, main point is basically, if you are eating meat, you are contributing to Amazon deforestation, most because
And
of this relation between, around, within 79 to 85, 90% of the whole deforestation in Amazonia is related to meat consumption, is
well,
related
how
to
much is gone?
livestock.
How much has
Yes,
been destroyed now?
because there are so many things that you can relate, you can relate with animal consumption. So you can deforestate to plant grains, or you can have a huge land to put your cows and the pigs to live, or you can produce, um, not just soya, but you can produce, so everything related to animal, and on top of that, Amazonia. So here in Brazil, um, we have 20% of the fresh water in the world is underneath Amazonia. I don't know exactly the name, but underneath the soil you have that water, um, and 20% of the fresh water in the world is in Amazonia. And we know that, all this farming and livestock, they use loads of fresh water, you know so yeah, it's, for me, it's something that I cannot see my loved ones doing this, and I try to approach in different ways. So I try to say, you need to stop to eat meat because animal feel pains, and everything that and then I try to say about the environment issues. So I say about Amazonia, I say about, so the I always say about um, there are so many scientists, they are saying that the next 10 years is going to be, if you don't change in the next 10 years, the world's going to actually, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm optimist because to see so many vegans and the movement's growing, but on the other hand, I'm a little bit pessimist because we need to wake up. We need to, put
Well, how
um,
much has been gone? How much is destroyed now?
so there are so many studies around this, but since 1985, 1880 till now, well, more than 35% of the Amazonia was deforested, but is the deforestation that you cannot reverse, because they're kind of reforestation that you can reverse, but even reversing is never going to be the same. So this is another point that I'm studying, that I can see the difference between if you can reverse or not. And but they say that the next 15 to 20 years is going to be super important for the future of the world. And this starts with Amazonia, not just with Amazonia, but Amazonia being the biggest one in the world. This is something that I'm going to say in our next meeting, that if Amazonia would be a country, Amazonia would be the fifth country, the biggest one in the world. Some data. I can be more specific, but something like this. If you take all the Amazonia land, which covers, so Amazonia covers not just Brazil. So 60%, around 60% of the Amazonia is in Brazil. Let me just confirm this. Well, I can talk more in our next meeting.
So
but
the next meeting is we did it .health, and I don't even have what's the date? Maybe I can look real quick here.
It's going to be on the 8th, isn't it?
The 8 o'clock, 10 Eastern Standard Time. We did it .health channel. But we have a lot of questions too. So after you look that up, I'm going to put another question here for you.
Oh, you can ask questions, but this is something that just to confirm here. So Amazonia covers not just Brazil, but it takes Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana, mostly in the north of South America, right? But the thing is, 64%. Yeah, I was saying, I said 60, but 64% of the Amazonia is in Brazil. So it's more than half of the whole Amazonia is in Brazil. And be aware, people, that the deforestation is not just in Brazilian Amazon, right? There are so many lobbying and things in Peru. It's not just here. It's Amazonia overall is being deforested. So 64% is in Brazil, 10% of Amazonia is in Peru, 6% in Colombia, another 6% in Bolivia, another 6% in Venezuela, 3% in Guyana, 2% in Suriname, 2% in Ecuador, and 1% in French Guiana.
Well,
and so 64% of the whole Amazon is in Brazil, and 59% of the Brazilian territory is Amazonia. So if you take whole Brazil territory, 60% or 59% is Amazonia. Yeah.
We need to get down there. I feel like going down there and protesting, or going down there and, it's like we need people active, right? All those people to come together for their land. My gosh, poor people. It's so sad. Well, look at this question. What about Feliciano Filho? Who do you know him?
So I mean, this is another point, yeah, about Feliciano Filho. So to be honest, I don't know a lot about him. I know that his father, Feliciano, he wasn't a great politician. I don't know about his son, and I didn't know that he was vet.
Okay.
So I don't know a lot to say about him.
What about this? Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I have another question for you.
No. So you can, yeah. Are these factories owned by Brazilians or Americans? Are there? Yes, yeah. So this GBS. So I can write here, GBS.
Here it is, right here. Someone's saying GBS.
Yeah, Arizona. You see. So yeah, they are Brazilians. They are Brazilians, and on top of that, the owners, they are two brothers. They are brothers, and they were 4 years ago when there was a coup of state in Brazil, and the right wing took the power, and the president who took over, he was friend of the owners of GBS, and there was a case here in Brazil that the meat was how do I say, expired, or it was something on the meat, and there was that there was that remarkable pictures that the president eating meat and say, no, there is nothing wrong about the meat, you know. But there was, there's so many things wrong about their meat. So they are super powerful. They are super powerful. And GBS, they have a turnover of $50 billion per year. 50 billion dollars per year. And they were prosecuted on having, you know, um, um, slavery, not
Oh,
work related to his, slavery work. I don't
right.
know.
Human rights issues.
Yes, loads of right human, and this is a problem. This is a problem as well, because I always say to my friends, and to, to everyone who I speaks, or when I'm talking, people always say to me, "Oh, but you you are prioritizing animals than humans," and then I say, "Hold on, no, I'm not. No, I'm not at all, because first of all, they are two fights that needs to be, we need to be activists in the both ways. You don't need to exclude one in order to another one. You can fight both together. And the second thing is that uh, they are super related. They are super related, first of all, because if you see the workers who works in the slaughterhouses, they are the labor class, where they have the highest figures of suicide, the highest figures of depression. Um, they have so many issues in the work. So imagine if you work 8 9 hours, stabbing, pigs, if you are killing cows, you need to work with boots, because in the floor is just, it's blood everywhere. uh, you're gonna have problems, and this is human rights, right? We need to look to these people as well. And in GBS, but not GBS, but all these companies, they took this labor, the laborers who is working there. They are most either refugees or poor people who lives, in the countryside, and they don't have anything to. The thing is, they set these slaughterhouses, or GBS set these places, um, in the countryside, in that regions that is not developed, and they gonna hire these poor people, the people who works there, to work there, so they are being victimized 2 times, because of their conditions, natural conditions, and because they need to work on that thing, otherwise they're gonna die. But working in that situation is not fair, and it's not mentally fair. It's not fair in all situations, right? And and so and on top of that, if you see now, uh, getting away a little bit about from Amazon, if you see the the seafood industry, or the fish industry, they use kids as a slaver, as workers. They use kids. Um, if you see Germany, the UK, the US, they pay more than 35 billion, or they support. So the government, they give, or they support this seafood industry, um, around 35 billion dollars per year. And if you see, in order to to save, or not to save, but in order to, address the hunger in the world, it would be necessary to so 30 billion dollars, it would be necessary to sort or to cover the hunger in the world. And every year these governments, they are supporting with 35 billion, so 5 billion more to support this food industries. So we have money to address the hunger in the world, but this money is not being addressed in the correct way, right? And this is another problem. So this human rights and and veganism, they are linked. They are linked. You cannot think one or another one, and this is a problem. And here in Brazil, the prices are increasing exponentially. And if you see, when I'm walking around, I see 100 grams of meat. It's super expensive, and people say, "Oh, it's expensive to be vegan." And I always say, friends, it's expensive to eat the food which was veganized, the veganized food. This is expensive. If I buy, I don't know, hamburger,
Yeah,
vegan
impossible. Well,
hamburger.
not impossible. Those are, I mean, I like, anyway, not that, but
Yeah,
anyway, yeah. If you
this
buy
is
like
going to.
name brand burgers is what you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
so
Name brand.
the veganized food is expensive. But if you see how much is going to cost 100 grams of meat and 100 grams of beans or 100 grams of lentils, is actually there are a little bit less protein if you compare, but it's just little bit less protein, but it's way more cheaper. So so I always say to my friends that here, I don't know in the US, but here for Easter, it's common to have a turkey or something, super expensive, super expensive, super not turkey. I forgot the name, but in Christmas, super expensive to buy a turkey. And well, but I just want to say that human rights and veganism, they are linked. And especially if I'm going to investigate, I mean, I've been investigating GBS because they are my main point. There are so many problems. There are so many problems there, and this is the thing. uh, I think is around 95% of the environment activists that they are killed worldwide. 95% is in Brazil. So a lot of people. So if you take all the environment activists that are killed, 95% is in Brazil. So many people are killed in the Amazonia, fighting for Amazonia. I don't know if you remember last year, English reporter, he was killed in the Amazonia because he was there to show everything, and people
Oh,
killed them. People,
well,
because they don't want people to know. They don't want people to know that things are going in Amazonia. And I was it was mind blowing for me to know that Elon Musk. Um, this is crazy. This I cannot honestly. So for the last 4 years, there was extremely right wing and fascist president in Brazil, and he was killing Amazonia more than everyone ever. And last year, Elon Musk came to Brazil, and everyone was saying, "Oh," he came to Brazil to meet with the previous president. And what we discovered eventually, that he had a meeting with the ex-Brazilian president, the prior one, that he was putting GPSs or satellites to check or to help to Amazonia to be deforested, because Elon Musk, he wanted lands in Brazil, and he wants things in Amazonia. And he came here to put GPS in the orbiter, to give 5G internet, for those who were illegally deforesting, because there are so many things like this in Brazil. There are so many people uh, who are paid by these companies. I cannot say GBS or no, but there are so many companies that they are paying to have this illegal deforestation. And imagine huge land. If you don't have GPS or internet, you cannot see what are you doing. So you need to have a GPS in order to see where you are in the Amazonia, right? So Elon Musk, he came here to Brazil. He met with the ex-Brazilian president, and he put 5G internet to help those who were deforesting illegally Amazonia, And this is crazy.
That's crazy. Well, listen, I think that like I'm getting a lot of comments about how this is depressing. Yeah, it's very and the indigenous people right here. Someone saying, and they're being killed for the land. Indigenous Amazonian Indians have perfect garden inside the rainforest, which shall be destroyed now. I know. So tell us about what you're doing. Tell us about your plans in the next year that you were telling me about earlier. What?
So
Because we want to hear some hope. So you tell us.
yes, so so I am a criminal lawyer, and I got post graduation in criminology last year, two years of post graduation, and I wrote about animal criminology. So I kind of was one of the first um, persons talking about animal criminology. So I could bond my background in criminal law and criminology with my passion in animal rights and criminology, and yeah. And I got so I applied to study animal rights, masters in animal rights, and I got a scholarship award to go to the US to study animal law. So next in August, in 3 months, 4 months, I'm going to the US to study animal law, LLM in animal law, with everything paid. I was super happy to study more about animal rights and to study more about all these problems and issues. And I really want to bring things back to Brazil, because what I feel and what I can see in people that so I lived in the UK for 3 years, and even though everyone loves Amazonia and Brazil, I feel that is like I feel that is a continent that no one cares about, is far away, and blah blah blah. So I feel that we need to say to people and to show whole the world that there are so many potential things here in the southern hemisphere, because what I feel is that is always the north eating literally the south, and I really want to show this to the world and everything. And so yeah, I'm going to north to learn, but well, I want to bring things back here, and to be uh, a lawyer, more activist on this field. And and yeah, so I was super happy to get this award, and I'm going to be the second Brazilian in the world or in Brazil to go and to get this scholarship. So I'm super happy
That's
and
cool. Yeah.
optimist. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And so, what's the best thing we can do in our own town to help the rainforest? And what would you say? What can we do?
So I would say that well, first thing is stop to eating meat and to be vegan, because 1 out 4 meals in the world comes from Brazil. So we are kind of feeding the world. Like 1 out 4 meals comes from here, and yeah, my main thing is that to we need to know that um, everything, not I mean, not everything, but the peace needs to start in your plate. How come you can be in peace with you, or you want to be in peace with your family, with your friends, or whatever, in any instance, if you are eating a dead body, or if you are eating something that suffered, you cannot be in peace if you are getting this bad energy. You can if you are getting war inside
So
of you. You
what
know what
would
I'm
you
saying?
recommend? Yeah, what would you recommend that people watch if they don't know anything about?
Okay, so yeah, um, uh, I was saying, talking with Mariquita before, and some there is one video in YouTube, which goes "Dairy is scary." I don't know if people know or heard about it. That she
Dairy is
explains,
scary. Dairy is
yeah,
scary.
exactly. She has explained the milk industry in 5 minutes, and yeah, it's mind blowing. Yeah, when the and it's awful because there are so many pus, pus,
Us.
in the milk, because and the government, they say, or there is a regulation
They allow a
about
certain
a
amount.
certain amount, and in Brazil is the country that is allowed it to have more pus comparing to all countries in the world. And 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 not just that, it's unbelievable that there are some
Pesticides.
that pesticides that are forbidden worldwide, but here in Brazil and in one country in Africa is allowed it. Why? Because they need to put the pesticides in the crops and in the the plantations in order to uh, so yeah, I mean, there are so many things to do here.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I have a question here. Where in the U.S. you'll be studying Oregon,
yeah,
and
in Portland. Yeah,
Portland. Are you
yeah.
familiar with Wayne? I don't know how to say his last name, but I know who they're talking about.
No, I don't. I don't. Who is Wayne, or who is Wayne? I literally, I mean, I've been studying more here from Brazil and to take Brazilian scientists because I really want to spread this Brazilian science and everything. So I don't know a lot about this, but I am willing to know and to study and to have a conversation. And someone said something about the indigenous, and this is a thing as well. Since the well, um, so the Portuguese, they came here 500 years ago, and they discovered Brazil, but not discovered because there were indigenous living here before. So discovered in a European mentality, right? And since then, uh, there has been war against white and indigenous. It's happening now. It's happening now. So when I said about these illegal people, that they go to Amazonia and they deforest with the GPS provided from Elon Musk, they are killing and they are fighting against indigenous because they are there, um, in their own land, right? They're then in their own land. So their land, um, they are turning the indigenous lands into um, soya production,
Well, they're
and
stealing the land from the indigenous people. It's sickening. I mean, it's
yes.
horrible. And look, I've got so this is right, and I want to know what Wayne is the founder of DX.
Oh,
I know he was in that with the little piglet trial and other trials, DXE, which I'm not sure is. So I try to keep up with everything. I can't. I wish I could, but yeah. So I don't know what DXE is, but definitely I know about Wayne, and so I'm sure you'll learn more as you're in the States, and anybody.
Nice, nice. I'm super excited. I'm going to learn a little bit, and this is a thing that uh, I am I am not just criminal abolitionist, but I am also animal abolitionist. So I'm abolitionist in two ways because I don't think that welfare is, well, there are so many discussions around this, but I know that it could be a bridge to reach abolitionism. But I don't think that there is human way to kill anyone. I don't think that
A
uh,
humane way. Hmm.
a human way to kill any animals, and I don't think that this mentality of, oh, let's treat well all the life and then eventually kill. Uh, this for me doesn't make sense. This is the thing. Um, I always say to my friends and to everyone, oh, but eggs, we can eat eggs. If you don't eat eggs, there will be a lot of eggs. These things that I always say. Look, the egg, he was not made to feed humans. So the argument's in the base, right? It's not because it's going to have so many eggs eventually. No, the thing is, we are not made to digest eggs, and we are not made to digest milk from cows. That's why around 75% of the people are intolerant, dairy intolerant in the world. In the world, 75 to 80% of people, they are intolerant, dairy intolerant. Why? Because our digestive system is not made to process milk.
Because we're not
This is
cows,
simple. Cow's
right?
milk.
We're not cows, right?
We are
Yeah,
not
it would make
exactly. So I always say, this is the thing. This is the thing. My argument is that we don't need them, or our source of nourishments or everything is not from them. But anyways, uh but yeah, so there are so many fights and wars against indigenous, and this is a thing as well. And if you're gonna see, there are so many indigenous eating meat, or but this is the thing. um there are so many people that they need this in order to survive, right? So if you see indigenous, for instance, they don't have a supermarket in the corner, right? They need,
right.
I mean,
It's different. It's different.
it's different, yeah. So my fight is against these huge companies and
The
things.
country farming.
You,
Yeah, the
you know what
country.
I'm saying. This is the thing. There are people that, but there's so many fights against indigenous and white people, still today, and it's happening now. It's happening now. From 500 years ago to now, is happening because white people, they are taking over all their lands and killing these families and these indigenous, and
So non-native people, then not the native people. Yeah, is what you're talking about.
yeah. So unfortunately, but hopefully
Well,
things will change
they
eventually.
will change. We're gonna have to wrap this up, but because of you, they are gonna change. If you're, I mean, that's exciting that you're gonna be studying and Oregon and taking action and using that and connecting with the right people, and still now in Brazil working to educate people. And you don't ever know who's going to change. So, I mean, thank you for everything you're doing, and all these people that have been watching. Thank you all for everything you're doing. And then don't give up hope. We're all working together to make change, right? It might seem hopeless, but that's not true. We're going to
Yeah,
make a change, right? We got to keep moving forward because I mean, things have to change or we're not going to have a planet.
exactly. And so thank you so much, Mariki. Or Are we still on the meet, or we're
Yeah, we're
about to?
still on. So I thank everybody for watching. Look, someone is saying D. So here, let me put this up real quick. DXE is direct action everywhere, and that's Wayne. Wayne is the founder of that.
Oh,
And
nice.
and someone's saying, thank you so much for this very informative live stream. It's very important to realize the whole dimension of this catastrophe. I'm sorry, but I'm not optimistic. Well, you can, we're going to be optimism, and we're going to give you some optimism. So let's
Yeah,
hold it together, right? We're going to take charge.
exactly.
Right? Yeah, we're going
And
to make it.
Mariquita, I am allowed to let my mail here to anyone if someone wants to reach me
Yeah,
out.
tell everybody where they can reach you, right? Definitely tell everybody how they can reach you.
So I'm writing here my email.
Well, tell it to us, and then you can go back and write it later, or you can write it
Oh,
now. I mean, to some places it won't post, but go ahead. You can write it.
okay. I'm just right here in our private chat.
Okay.
If
Are
you
you in
can.
LinkedIn? I mean, you're in.
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn.
Where can they
So,
find you?
so I'm writing here on the StreamYard for you, and then you can share on, you know.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
going to put it on a banner here. Hold on 1 second here. I'm going to put the email up so everybody can see. I think I can. Here we go. All right. So
oh
there
yes,
it is right there.
yes.
I wish it would stop moving, but
So
anyway.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and hope to see you all on the 8th. Right? It's on the 8th. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That is going to be We Did It Health YouTube channel on the 8th at, let me look, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so that's going to be a presentation to go over more specifically about the rainforest and
More the
yeah.
Brazilian context, Brazilian some numbers that I'm going to bring, and to talk more about Amazonia and what has been happening here, and maybe to give some hope.
There is hope. Come on, there's hope. Yeah. So no, that'll be streamed live also. So it's really important that we get the facts and we really stand up and do everything we can. And then someone else is sharing the Wayne's Facebook. So I'll give you that information afterwards. And anybody, let me put this up for people that might want to see it. So, but definitely, this has been very informative, and we'll get all this information out to you all. And please reach out to Marcelo and connect with him, because we need all of us connecting with him and standing behind him. You're going to change the world. I mean, you are changing the world and helping Brazil. So we want to help you too. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Marcelo. And I'm
Thank
very
you.
grateful.
Thank you. See you soon.
Namaste,
Yeah.
vegan,
Namaste.
everybody. And
Vegan
stay on.
namaste.
Bye,
Bye bye. Thank you.
everybody.